Did you see Kepka on the beach with Jenna Sims eating sushi, though? God damn. Give me $100 million. I'm out. I won't ask any questions.
Welcome back to the Unrestricted. Thank you guys for following. Always like and subscribe. I'm Vex. That's the Bulldog, Richie Carnahan. Bob, my man on the ones and twos. And we got two guys in studio today. We had to call a 911 emergency roundtable podcast to talk about LIV Golf. Because the British Open just took place. The Open Championship. Sorry for those of y'all who are better informed than I. Cam Smith did an amazing job, and he took down Rory McIlroy, and it was exactly what the golf world maybe didn't need, because all of the talk this week has not been about Cam Smith and his incredible victory. It's been about Cam Smith and how soon will he leave for the LIV Tour. And LIV Tour is gaining momentum, as much as that pains me to say, and as much as it pains me even more to say this, they're starting to make me slightly interested. So I had to bring in a couple of ringers, RC.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Well, Robbie and Aaron both are guys that I play a lot of golf with. I think it's safe to say that we all love the PGA, and we all love golf, and we love the tour. However, these guys light up my phone on our text message chain, so much so that I can't believe that any of our friends can get any work done during any given business day. It's freaking absurd. It's 55 texts a day, and it's almost all about LIV Golf. And I said, you know what, you two? That's fine. We're gonna bring it to a roundtable. We're gonna do this on air, and we're gonna have a podcast where we hash this out about LIV Golf. And what I can't figure out is, why am I supposed to be interested in Henrik Stenson?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty quiet in the group text, but when we started going about LIV, I had to jump in. I think because I'm trying to work out my own feelings about it. I'm torn. I think the product's actually pretty fucking good, to be honest.
Have you even seen a tournament?
I have.
So you're a subscriber.
You don't have to subscribe. It's free on YouTube.
Okay, but you're on a list.
And Facebook Live.
I'm probably on a watch list now.
Yeah, you're on a watch
list.
I hope you don't want to fly back to New York anytime soon.
Yeah.
Why did you tune in? Was it just out of curiosity? And when you did tune in, what did you find?
Morbid curiosity. I wanted to hate it, and I hated watching Laurie Cantor play golf. And
who's Laurie Cantor?
Yeah, exactly. Who's Laurie Cantor? A guy who probably made $10 million, right? The team thing, it works. 100% that works. Having a team element to golf.
It's just like a Ryder Cup, said Taylor Gooch.
I think it's more like F1.
That is definitely what we're starting to learn. And by the way, that's the funniest thing about the entirety of LIV Golf, is that they didn't announce their intentions on how they were going to do this or what they were going to do at any point in time, and they still really haven't. But we're all starting to suspect that what they're trying to do is the F1 model, right?
You could see it in the broadcast, just the scoreboard, the ticker that they're showing, the format and how they're doing it, even like the damn 70s font that they've chosen for all of their press releases.
I love team golf.
Very similar.
I have long suggested that we have team golf in this country.
Smash GC, baby.
What is Smash GC?
It's the Kepka boys.
Oh, that's their stupid golf brand?
Give me the jersey.
Oh, my God. Team golf makes sense to me, okay? I get it. Collegiately, it makes sense. If you had something regionally in the United States, Team Texas versus Team California, motherfucking right, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If the name on the front of the uniform is Texas, I'm interested.
Is it burnt orange?
Oh, I'm out.
You know, maybe it's a mixture of orange and maroon.
No.
I think it should be red, white, and blue.
There you go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Just like our flag.
Yeah.
So
it was never supposed to be competitive to the PGA Tour. It was designed to be an exhibition series, an additive to the tour. Let these guys go and play an event that didn't mean anything, and let them make a little money, do whatever their underlying conspiracy goal, connect the dots. But it was Monahan that made it an us versus them kind of thing.
you think so?
I do. I think when they announced that 54-hole
You don't
event,
think Greg Norman was trying to take down the
Fuck
PGA Tour?
Greg Norman.
You might be the only guy in the world who
Here's
thinks
the
Greg
thing.
Norman wasn't trying to take
we
down the tour.
already know that Jack wanted to take $148 million. Is that the lawsuit he's in right now with the Nicholas companies? He wanted to take the LIV money. He said, hey, I turned down the money. Now his own company is suing him because he wanted to take the money. If Jack Nicklaus is the face of this thing, this is a different conversation for the whole globe.
I can believe that.
Greg Norman is a hateable person. So
I agree
they
with
couldn't
that.
have chose a worse person to do this.
Everyone that's gone to the LIV Golf Tour
They've
is
taken all the
generally
bad
hated.
guys. Yeah, they've taken a bunch of scumbags, but they've made some.
It's the evil empire.
It's very WWF to me. I just pictured LIV as like the NWO. I mean, I was hoping Cam Smith ripped his shirt off wearing a NWO LIV shirt right there.
Remember
on
the
the
Wolf
18th.
Pack?
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
Up in
Hell
there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I almost agree, but I think that kind of changed today because Charles Howell got announced.
Oh,
he is not a hateable
come
guy.
on now.
Chucky
No,
Three
he's a very
Sticks is
yeah,
not hateable.
exactly.
He's
exactly.
a nice guy. And Henrik Stenson's not hateable either. Henrik
yeah,
Stenson
but
is
Henrik Stenson hadn't made a cut in 2 years.
He's had the driver yips for a decade.
Well, I've got something in common with him.
He's not important. He's not a relevant player any longer, except that he was about to be European Ryder Cup captain.
Right.
And that it makes him actually quite relevant because it means once you get the guy, you're on the news everywhere.
In the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, if this was an option instead of playing in the Ryder Cup, the
Lee
Ryder Cup doesn't
Trevino
exist.
would have been
Nicklaus,
all
Watson,
day
Arnold Palmer, all these guys would have taken the money
I
and
don't
run.
know. You say that, but we also know that for a fact, Jack and Arnie and Gary were asked multiple times to basically perform their own tour around the world. Just the three of them. And they turned it down.
Gary Player is sponsored by Saudi Golf. He wears it on every piece of clothing that he wears. So I think
Beside the point, they didn't break off from the PGA Tour where they had earned their name. And by the way, I'm neither pro-LIV nor anti-LIV. I'm just kind of sitting around on the outskirts, probably like the rest of us, wondering how the hell this is going to work out. Because if I bring it back to kind of where I began this, I am totally interested in the team model of golf, and I would have suggested it 20 years ago if they'd listened to me. However, I am not interested in the F1 style team model of golf. If it is Team Srixon versus Team Titleist, I'm out. As an American, I'm sorry, rooting for corporations like that doesn't do it for me.
Ain't singing for Pepsi. Ain't singing for Coke.
Does it change the other news that came out today? David Faraday and Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is rumored to go to the LIV Golf Tour. I now want to watch a LIV Golf event just to hear those two.
Yeah, shout out to David Faraday, who runs a charity for victims of 9/11 and then took the money of the people who financed their murder. So
They work for Mickelson.
Phenomenal double dip there, Faraday. That's really good.
But nobody's surprised by that because I
mean-
think Faraday probably far and wide is known as hilarious on air and not such a great guy.
You got to hedge your bets.
Now, I suppose so. Look, I blame none of the players for taking the money because it's there. And we're not having a roundtable about would you or should you take the money if you're the player? Because I think that turns out pretty obvious. Or if you're David Faraday, or if you're Charles Barkley, or and to steal our guy Blake's joke, if they start paying the fans, bro, I am in. I'm team whoever the hell you want me to root for. Even dorky ass Charlie Howe, I'll root for him.
I've got no loyalty to the PGA Tour, but I do love the product. I love watching golf, but I don't care about what event they're playing. I'll watch the Latin American Tour. I'll watch an exhibition in some Pro-Am in Ireland. It didn't matter what tour it is. I didn't know the Asian Tour was a thing until LIV Golf. I was always wondering how there was these certain players in the Masters every year. It's like, where are these 14-year-old kids coming from? It's from the Asian Tour. We learned. But I think I do think it's a little hypocritical if the only argument is the blood money argument. I think you do a little research, and we all use products that generate blood money every day, especially with the Saudis. I mean, if anyone's ever taken an Uber, they're collecting 5% of every Uber ride, right? I mean, Bank of America, BP, all of these different companies. And so
Our president, the current president, was just over there fist bumping the Saudi prince to drill a little more.
Politics makes for for strange bedfellows.
There's
so
also-
does money.
There's
okay?
also a necessary evil to what the Saudis provide. We still need oil, folks. That's a big piece of it.
There are realities of living like in the world economically, and then there is taking the money and agreeing to be the face of something that is bad. It is undeniably bad. I'm here for the carnage though, because I disagree. The PGA Tour
chaos.
product sucks. The PGA Tour product has gotten worse and worse.
One thing that it does introduce is a broken system in the PGA and two models. And one is the development tour. When you're asking these kids to come out of college, Andy Ogletree could have paid $7,000 to try to make it through Korn Ferry Q School, or he could shoot 83 times in a row and take 120 grand.
That's an easy decision.
Right. But then you've got the kid from Texas who turned down the money and then went on Korn Ferry and won by 5 strokes the first tournament he played in, right, against the guy. And then there's a guy in Oklahoma State who said peace and joined LIV.
I find it really hard for me to believe that you guys don't think that the PGA Tour is supporting sort of the up-and-coming player. Hasn't their partnership with Latin America, with the Latin American Tour, helped that? The Korn Ferry Tour? Haven't we developed what are they calling the collegiate system that is in preparatory for the PGA Tour? I feel like the PGA's done a really good job of that.
Meanwhile, Frank Licklider II is getting a start on the PGA Tour this week, and there's 100 young guns playing this Korn Ferry Tour event that I'm sure we'd all rather watch, because one of those kids is going to win the Masters in 4 years.
But it's a matter of time, isn't it? Like, that's why we have crappy tournaments like the 3M, where the really good players are usually away doing something else because it's the week after the Open Championship, right? And we have these off-brand tournaments like the 3M, and somebody like Frank Licklider goes out there and wins it. Like he won, I don't know, however many decades ago he last was relevant. And eventually the next kid who comes out of the Korn Ferry is going to win at the 3M, and that's how you develop Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, etc. Am I wrong?
Yeah, those guys were
those guys
were developed
the
in-
two that you just named.
They were
there was
born to
no.
be
They were
stars.
developed in high school.
Yeah.
right? These are
Okay,
kids that
how
were on
about
the
this?
fast track.
Brooks Koepka,
Think
Dustin
about-
Johnson. These guys weren't. Those guys weren't necessarily on the fast track.
Yeah, I mean, Koepka backed into his professional golf career, right? Like, I mean, him going to LIV is the most obvious decision ever.
Yeah,
The
because he
dude
played
hates
overseas.
Golf. He hates golf. He got in a wreck when he was 10. He broke his face. He couldn't play baseball or football or hockey anymore. So he had to play golf. He hates it.
More of a baseball guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Real athlete.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think that we know some guys that are going through the grind right now on what it. We know they have the skill to play on tour, but it's that either you capture lightning in a bottle on a Monday to get in, or you pay long dues. It's a long road to get there. And what we're seeing,
That's the way it's been
I
for
kn-
literally 100 years.
I know, but just because it's the way it's been for 100 years doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to buy into that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah, Jeff.
And when
I mean, your
tradi-
wife gets the vote. Are you pissed off about that?
Depends who she votes for.
There's crickets there. Choose my words wisely here. So I think you can argue for it either way. To me, it's pretty similar to this NIL college football conversation where I am all for the kids getting paid. And I think you have an argument as a pro golfer that the tour is making money from you 24/7. Your likeness is printing money, whether it's for charities or whether it's not, Jay Monahan getting rich, whatever. The money's being made. Meanwhile, you've got to perform, and yes, they're getting sponsorships just like every other pro athlete, but it's an interesting model where Tiger Woods has to pay the PGA Tour to host a match on YouTube against Phil Mickelson, right? It had nothing to do with the PGA Tour, but Tiger fucking Woods has to pay the PGA Tour for his own shit? That's broken.
Really, you feel like the PGA Tour is a broken product? Because I will tell you that I don't care where they're playing. If it's Sunday afternoon, whether or not I know whether I'm familiar or have any liking for the guys who are in the, we'll say, top 3 battling for the lead, I'm going to watch it. Like, I'm interested because I know that one of those 3 guys, or all 3, might be part of who's next. And I remember a couple of years ago, coming down the stretch, it was Matthew Wolff and Colin Morikawa.
Yeah,
and it
he
was
made
the
that putt
3M.
from off the green to win
Yes,
the. Yeah.
it was bananas.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the hell are these 2 guys? And why are they so good? Now, if I'd been a college golf follower, I would have known more. But let's just face it, most people aren't. It's like being a college baseball player.
Well, it's hard to get on your phone and say, okay, where are these college golfers playing this weekend?
Yeah.
There's
you just
also
don't do
only
it.
one professional golf product on TV. So, of course, we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to watch golf. There's only one fucking golf tournament on TV. Let's put it on.
Sort of true, but I'm also watching what used to be the European Tour in the morning.
How?
And if it's the last 5 holes,
For sure.
I'm going to watch it.
It's great. It's very similar to Formula One. It's great to have on the TV Sunday morning.
I don't even care who the names are.
Well, you don't know any of them because all the good Europeans live in Florida and are playing on the PGA Tour.
But isn't it weird that the entire LIV structure seems to be built around big names, kind of never has-beens, and who's ever heard of him?
But I think it is opening the model. I mean, this kid from Oklahoma State is the number 2 amateur golfer in the world, right? And he's gone straight to LIV. So I think there is this model where they're trying to find the next Tiger Woods,
Yeah, and this is kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, one of the biggest stories in golf this year, at least from my perspective, is first time ever all 4 majors won by somebody under 30 years old, right? Golf is a young man's game now, and it's not what it was 50 years ago, right? It is a young man's sport. And by shutting out this top talent that's playing on the Korn Ferry, playing on LATAM, playing on the, Canadian tour, they're asking for these people to get picked off. And I know, Pearson Coody said no. Great. Good for him, right? Awesome. Eugenio Shikara said
There you go.
yes,
Thank you.
right?
Yeah.
How do you logistically fix that? I was speaking with somebody earlier who said, you look at the guy who's 250th in the NBA and his salary. Well, that's $2 to $3 million a year. Look at the guy who's ranked 250th on the PGA Tour. It ain't even close to $2 or $3 million bucks. And that's true. It's also a much smaller sport, okay, which needs to be pointed out, and that's not an unimportant factor. But if the idea is that we need to spread the wealth farther down, then is the answer just increase purses? Because apparently the PGA Tour has way more money than they ever led us to believe.
So I have an answer for you. Do you know how Frank Licklider got into this tournament? Have you ever spent any time looking at the exemption categories for a PGA Tour event? It is so difficult for these kids to get into one of these events without Monday qualifying because the PGA Tour is set up in a way that if you have won a PGA Tour tournament in last year or in 1975, you have an exemption. It goes down the list, and you can get in before any of these kids do. So that's the fix. I'm sorry, if you haven't been relevant on the PGA Tour in 20 years, make way, buddy. Like, you have a pension. You're good. You don't need to be out there missing the cut at the 3M.
We kick him out.
Yeah, kick them out. Throw them off the tour, Doug.
It's more than just purses. I think these golfers want to have more ownership in their own personal brand. I think you see a lot of these NBA players that have a big social media presence and own a lot of their own highlights and a lot of their own media rights. And in the PGA Tour, you don't. And so that factors into how much off-the-course money these players can generate. And it's allowing players to do things like the match is a big thing now, right? People want to watch these exhibition, play some hammer games with pro golfers. People will watch it without having to give the PGA Tour a cut for something the PGA Tour has nothing to do with. Let the caddies have their own sponsors. The caddies the caddies wear something else on their bib, on their own hat. Let them have their own deal.
We could all jump on that.
Right.
I mean, the PGA Tour has screwed caddies for 100 years.
And LIV has made an extra effort to make sure that one of the things everyone's talking about is the caddies don't pay for their own flight, their own food, their own hotels. Everything is paid for the caddies.
Seen them? Have you seen that plane?
The plane is ridiculous.
The Pat P plane.
I thought that was a house. I didn't believe they were in a plane. I've been on big planes.
At the heart of it all, I'm a radio TV guy. Like, for most of my life, that's what I've been into. LIV cannot survive without a major TV deal. I don't
agree.
You want to tell me Paramount Plus? I'm going to tell you F off. Like, I've tried to watch men's soccer and, frankly, women's soccer, matches that I care about, and I'm just not going to go to Paramount Plus and watch it on my phone or my computer. Just not going to do it. Now, Aaron over here is like, oh, I'll do it.
Well,
but I'm never going to do it. It hinges on them getting a major television deal. And if they get a major television deal, and obviously if they get a Barkley and a Faraday, That certainly goes a long way towards assuring that. And then you bring in corporate dollars, and then you have something interesting that maybe can be something that is not necessarily a competitor to the PGA Tour, but additive to the PGA Tour, because we know that there's how many? 15 tour stops? About 15 that I could probably do without.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
Like minimum, right? Like obviously the majors are what's important. But if you go to that point where the majors are the only thing that's important, your tennis.
Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall.
The majors are not even the PGA Tour, right? That's the other part of this
They're different
conversation.
entities.
Yeah, they've got the players, right? That's theirs. But
Except for the way to qualify, obviously, for these events most easily is through the PGA Tour or other said tours, right?
getting points, right?
Right.
It's
World
that's
Golf
the
Ranking
other
points.
wrinkle to this whole deal,
And they're never going to get World Golf Ranking points playing 54 holes. Never going to happen.
right?
They have to play 72. Probably can't be a shotgun
I
start.
think, and I'm not educated enough. I'm pretty sure they have to have 75 players playing in an event too. So I think that's part of getting points awarded.
I think, yeah, all of those are good points. I think the even bigger problem with the World Golf Ranking stuff is that at the earliest, it will be 2 years before LIV Golf gets approved
Right.
for having them. And at that point, everybody playing on it will be ranked so low that the strength of field will be virtually nothing, and they won't really get any points for playing regardless.
But then you've got things like the Masters who can just decide we're changing it up. The Masters make their own rules, right? So nothing is written in stone, and these organizations will have to adapt. You're probably not the target, Jeff. I know that you want to watch it on cable television, but
who is?
I think we see bowl games that are now going on streams. I've watched multiple Dallas Cowboys games on Amazon Video.
Well, that's
So-
because it's not on prime time.
But
Because it's the Cowboys.
fuck out of here. That's a whole nother podcast, folks. Fuck this guy. It's our year.
Every year's our year.
Who's the target audience if it isn't me?
I think that the world is changing and people are trying to stay fresh and they're trying to target the younger generation. And I think
so. Kids are going to watch the LIV Golf Tour.
not kids, but I think the same kids that are trying to become these, we see younger golfers winning these golf tournaments. I think younger golfers are getting into golf. And I think these fucking kids don't give a damn about tradition. They don't give a shit about playing and what it's been done for 100 years.
Right.
We're in a world of instant gratification. You're telling me I can get instant money to go do something and fuck off a little tradition?
They don't care about Phil Blackmar winning the John Deere Classic.
Hey,
So here's the
Corpus
thing.
Christi zone. Don't be tripping.
I think
Fucking
you can
Phil.
handpick outside of the majors. There's probably, and if we went through it, there's probably 5, 10 at most golf events that actually fucking matter or have a history that anyone cares about. I think the rest of these are just golf tournaments. It's cool. We like watching the best players play, but they're playing a lot of dumb golf courses too. It's not like we're watching them play Shinnecock every year, right? We're having to watch them play some TPC River Highlands.
So
Shout
I'm going to
out.
bring this back to television real quick because I keep looking at this through my radio television life that I've lived. There are a lot of problems with broadcasting golf on television. And it's been a problem since golf got put on television. It's really hard to see a small ball flying really fast. It's why golf movies are always kind of goofy, weird, and poorly done. And it's why broadcasts forever have been always at the push to try to make it better, right? TrackMan and now the Tracer.
Hanukkah Minolta swing cam.
All of that crap. Like we're always looking for the way to make it more attractive to the viewer who is not necessarily the golf dork that is sitting around this table like the four of us. Right? If LIV can somehow capture the way to capture golf live on TV correctly, they will have this thing signed, sealed, and delivered.
It was an action-packed, and I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, because the first tournament, they didn't have a bunch of great players.
So did
But-
they film it any differently? Like
It's no commercials, and all the
So
golfers
straight golf.
are
That's
on the
because they
golf
have
course.
no
at the s-
sponsors.
Hey, no, well, okay, I'll take no sponsors versus playing through for 30 of the 40 minutes per broadcast.
You mean you don't want to see another
surprised
progressive
like that.
commercial?
I don't want to hear about contracts and commercials and how they work because there are more commercials than golf shots in every broadcast.
I'm surprised that you don't understand that you have to take some of the bad with the good. Like if LIV
like where
is,
the money comes from.
Yes, right. Like, if LIV is to succeed, they're going to have to be doing that too. But it's not just the way they film it, right?
Shotgun start plays a big factor into it's kind of exciting when 4 guys are competing to win a tournament and they're all on the golf course. There's nobody standing in the scoring tent watching to see what happens. We got a guy finishing on 9, we've got another guy finishing on 18, both fighting to win the tournament.
And they're going back and forth between the two guys.
Yeah, they've got multicam. You can view more than one golfer at a time. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
That's an advancement.
It wasn't great, but it was a very Formula One-ish. It felt capturing for the time you watched it.
So you feel like you're part of the event, like you're live
Yeah, well,
ish.
yes.
It's
I'm
going
living.
on.
Yeah. And I just pulled it up on YouTube on the Apple TV. I mean, it was very easy to get to.
It feels like it moves because you have the ticker in the top left showing how many holes are left in the day. You have the team scoreboard. It just seems like the action is nonstop. And yes, a big part of that is no commercials. And Jeff, I would push back on they're going to have to do that eventually. We don't know that they are.
Well,
Aramco is the number one company in the world, so they don't need AT&T's money, but it does sports wash them. That's a good point.
Well, and Jeff, you keep saying, well, it's not feasible. You're throwing good money after bad money after good. You know how they get their money? They drill a hole in the ground, and they keep the fucking power on.
There has to be a
Power's
point.
expensive today.
There has to
It
be
really
a point.
is.
If you're a capitalist, you're not doing this in order to lose money.
So
They're not a capitalist.
Let the guy from Columbia speak.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yes, you're right.
Wicked
But
smart.
You're thinking of this. You're thinking of this in the wrong way. You're thinking of this as the LIV Golf is the business, and that the investment they make in LIV Golf, the return has to come from LIV Golf directly, and that's not the play here for them.
They
This
don't
is a
care.
government program,
This is
basically.
They're looking for a tertiary return on investment here. They're looking for
Look
AT&T
that
to
up,
build
Jeff.
infrastructure. They're looking for oil contracts. Like the money comes back
I
to
wiped
them,
my tertiary.
even if it
today.
doesn't come back to them directly. Directly from the LIV Golf product, right? So that's why I say I don't know that they ever do need to get commercials or sponsors or whatever.
I think they're taking a piss. I think they're just fucking with the world.
I kind of do too. And I do see where you're going, Aaron, and you're kind of the first person to have explained it in a relevant way that is not just sport washing, which is just a term that I'm like, yeah, I don't buy into that shit. Like, we can all talk about what the Saudis have done in the past, right? And we all know about it, and it's not necessarily a great track record. What's Brooks Koepka going to be asked about after he wins an event the same weekend they chop up the next journalist? And how is that going to go over?
Maybe I shouldn't say this in Texas, but it's not like Shell and BP and Wells Fargo are great corporate citizens. Like PGA Tour players, there's some evil there too.
And
Not quite chopping up journalists, though.
You kill a
It's
few
just
seals.
a little different than a few like oil-soaked
seals.
pelicans.
seal killer the rest of your life.
I'm
damn
just
it.
You
I'm
kill
just saying
one seal.
There's a little bit more at play here.
But
And
here-
by the way, the PGA Tour wanders around with like a halo around it because of all the money they give to charity. Now, if the Saudis really want to do this, that would be the next step.
Well,
They
and
should put it
Bryson's-
under the category
is
of
the
growing
thing,
the
though.
game.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. I want to walk that back and apologize because you're right. Your company's success being predicated on the complete ecological destruction of the earth and the death of every living thing on it.
Allegedly.
is way
The sea levels are the
is
same.
way better than the death of a journalist. You're right. Sorry, my bad.
God damn it, it's more golf. Okay, San Antonio is rumored to get an XFL team. By golly, I'm going to watch every fucking game.
Thank the Lord.
Are you kidding me? The USSFL, whatever the fuck that was, I watched every game.
So,
give me
Commanders.
the extra sports. Give me the extra golf.
I don't want to skip to the end here, but every single time this has happened with major sports, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, etc. What usually happens is, with the exception of the NBA where you actually had a merger, you get great things that come out of these upstart leagues that wind up being incorporated into the bigger leagues.
I'm still mad that you can't put your nickname, He Hurt Me, on the back of your jersey.
I'm still mad that
time.
I'm still pissed off that the San Antonio Gunslingers are gone.
Well, here-
that was a
Clinton
part of
Magnus?
my childhood, and granted, I'm a little older than you guys, but like that was a part of my childhood. They were cool. They played at Alamo Stadium. They had a kick-ass emblem. I was
They'd
all
be canceled now. Gunslinger.
100% canceled. I was all about the USFL. I was all about it. I wasn't an NFL fan as much as I was
A football fan.
a USFL fan.
Got it, okay.
Because they were getting Herschel Walker,
Well,
right? They were getting the young studs. If Liv wants to kick ass, that's who they got to get, like the kid from Oklahoma State that you were talking about.
You asked earlier, what's the fix? And there's not, I'm sure there's many answers on how you can say it, but competition is the fix. And that you just alluded to that in every industry we're an open market. We're a free market. Let iron sharpen iron.
You're talking me down from being as pissed off about LIV Golf as I've been for the last 2 months. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, I'm starting to come around. Like the team format thing. I'm like thumbs up, but don't give me corporate sponsors. Give me the Japanese against the Aussies against the South Africans.
And I think that's what we're seeing.
And if that happens, bro, I'm in. Give me some television viewing patterns that are different than the ones that I've seen my whole life. Golf live, even for guys like us who love it, mostly sucks when you're on site and in person.
Right.
Unless you are at one of the pantheon of places.
Right.
Pebble Beach, Augusta National, you know the list.
Or Scottsdale.
Waste management.
Right, of course. Yeah.
In
the
the
number one
stadium.
live tournament. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
For the most part, it stinks to go watch golf live.
Yep.
The whole way to make money if you're a golf tour is your television rights.
Right. So the television has to get better.
It has to be
So maybe
supreme.
This is
The
a
way-
catalyst for change.
It could be.
You take, like, XFL had some stuff. You take technology, and the big fish will eat the little fish. They're going to merge. I hate to say it, 45. You were right about something.
But I don't think they were ever looking to merge. I don't think they ever intended to be competition because they're 54-hole shotgun start. They're not the PGA Tour.
So they're
not
just the
trying to be.
disruptor.
They're just different. But we keep looking at it. I'm now sold more on the underlying tone that you alluded to earlier because there is no amount of profit they can generate to justify the amount of money that's being paid.
Right. And they're not looking to do that. It's abundantly clear.
The return on investment, Columbia, is not there. So that's my one term. But you look at some of these other golfers, and we've got a guy at our club. I mean, Abe went to LIV, and you think about where Abe was in his mind and where he's come from and his story, and it's like, gosh, it makes a lot of sense. And if somebody can offer him the money and it's, it changes his path, it's probably not why he originally became a pro golfer. He probably had the dream of playing in all these tournaments and seeing his name on the trophies with all the legends. And then an opportunity comes along and you start weighing the pros and cons just like any of us have done in any decision in life. And if you take some of the bad with the good, then oftentimes the good can outweigh the bad.
It's not about the players and the decisions they
Okay.
make because that's easy. And it's not about Faherty and his decision. That is easy. That is dollars and common sense. It is really, truly about what are we going to see in the future? Yeah. Because I'm actually surprised to hear you, Aaron, say that, like, you don't necessarily enjoy a PGA Tour event on a Sunday that isn't on an important golf course and doesn't have the biggest five names at the top of the leaderboard.
I like golf, and I wanted to see what they were doing.
Aaron's
That was
curious.
different.
What are your pronouns? It. That a boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that a it.
I could tell by that extremely masculine beard that you went by it.
I might be different than the target golf audience too. I've been talking about this with other people that I have very little interest when Tiger Woods is not playing. And so you can put Tiger in any tournament. When he was playing, what was that, the Valspar a couple of years ago, and he made a run on it on Sunday at the Valspar.
That's how we all are now, though, because, like, you're watching a living legend. Eventually, there's not going to be a Tiger, right?
No, but before,
and this is about
before
what
the living
Phoenix
legend.
comes out of the ashes of the Tiger Woods era.
I don't
Before
know
the-
that I'll ever be as attached or passionate about any pro athlete as I
Probably
am with Tiger Woods.
none of us probably will
And
be.
so
I
it could
think
be
that's true.
lightning in a bottle. He could be better than Tiger Woods. It's just
this-
I was a kid. I was nostalgic
And
about
the
it.
stuff that he did and made this, because forever golf's been a rich white guy sport. And this kid comes on the scene and he breaks the glass ceiling and he's amazing. And he's so good. He is so much better than everybody else. Even the old stuffy rich white folks said, fuck.
You got to love it.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. Let's fast forward, all right? We'll make believe for this. 10 years. LIV Golf is still around. There's a girl, and she somehow...
What are her pronouns?
Stop. is number one in the world. She comes out of nowhere, bat out of hell, the way Tiger Woods did in the late 90s. Does it matter? Does it mean as much to the world if she is winning in Portland or wherever LIV Golf is playing at that time, the way it mattered when Tiger Woods was running roughshod over the PGA Tour? It didn't matter where it was. Didn't matter what city it was in. We were all watching every single fucking week because we wanted to see if he could do it again.
Nothing will ever matter that much.
The world's a different place. The internet has made things less important because now everything's happening everywhere. We're in tune to everything, right? I mean, Tiger Woods was the only fucking thing making headlines because there was only 10 headlines. And now you've got a whole, it's a different world.
I mean, I would have said that about LeBron James. Like, he could never eclipse Michael Jordan in terms of fame. I was wrong.
Remember, they and I remember this distinctly. I was living in Dallas.
We did not have enough time
Well,
for
I'm not-
LeBron James.
I'm not giving you the LeBron is better than Michael argument.
no.
I am giving you the LeBron is as big as Michael.
Yeah, and I think, again, the internet makes that possible.
Okay, so
It's just
my
here's
hypothetical.
Your
if,
hypothetical.
If that gal does win, does she take the world by storm, even if she's winning in these events that nobody's ever heard of?
I think if LIV still exists in 10 years, then it is very legit at that point. I think if it's still around, then we do very much care, and they're not going to be playing at Portland. But Pumpkin Ridge is a very good golf course.
Yeah.
Korn Ferry plays there. The Pacific Northwest deserves a golf tournament.
Oregon's
it's
gorgeous. No
Great golf
wine,
up there.
good golf.
Yeah,
All
wonderful.
right, but
By the way,
like
Texas
Jefferson-
deserves a major.
I agree. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, we finally get one.
We got the
right?
PGA Championship coming in a few years to the new course up in Frisco.
Yeah,
which
and
is
it will
probably going to just
it-
be hideous
I was
looking.
going to say it'll get shit on the whole time.
It looks incredible. It's a Gil Hans design. It looks
You're the guy who doesn't like trees on golf courses, Aaron.
There's very little trees on this golf course.
can you spray it?
It
and play
depends.
I
It
told you.
depends.
Can you spray it and play it?
Yeah.
Okay, but Jeff, where were you going about we're talking about LIV, and you're talking about there's a female sensation, and she's going to play on the LIV tour?
I guess in my hypothetical, if she took the world by storm and she takes over and she's on the LIV tour and she becomes number
So
one.
she's playing against anybody, all comers.
yeah, and
And she's playing from the same tees.
Sure, why not? I mean,
Okay.
she takes it over the way Tiger Woods did.
Okay. Have you seen the Bill Burr special live at Red Rocks?
He's only the greatest comedian on the planet Earth, and I have tickets for later this year.
Well, congratulations. But have you seen the special that
That's
just
not
came
what
out?
I asked you.
All right. So Bill Burr says, you know who failed the females? Females. WNBA. 200 people go and watch these gals play basketball every night. If the feminists wanted the WNBA to perform, wouldn't they be there? Wouldn't they fill those seats? Ask anyone, hey, name your 5 favorite WNBA players.
Go.
fucking crickets.
One of them's in jail in Russia.
Yeah.
I think feminists probably have bigger fish to fry than WNBA attendance.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. They're super, super busy right now. I get that.
That's probably one of the knocks against LIV too. Is your hypothetical probably could never happen. There will be no women playing on the
Can we
Saudi
just
Arabia.
subtract? I mean, make it not a woman. Make it an Indian golfer.
I do.
That would be a big deal, right?
Dots or feathers, Jeff?
Computer
you know the
casino.
answer,
No, I think
you
golf is
shamrock eating.
I think golf is very relevant, and so if there's another superstar, yes, it doesn't matter where they're going to play. And I think in your hypothetical, if 10 years from now this alternative tour still exists, it's no longer an alternative tour.
Yeah, it's the new norm.
It's another tour.
And that's but look at what has succeeded.
But look at UEFA and Champions League and all of these different leagues and all of these different teams.
Soccer has the template.
Soccer's the number one most played sport in the world. Golf, maybe not the number 2 most played, but its footprint on the globe has to be number 2. Right? Every country in the world has a golf course. So I think that if we can model that along that European soccer and this Champions League where leagues can exist and the best play the best, we should be able to figure it out in golf.
Just as long as we're talking about soccer, I think it's a fucking disgrace that the MLS is not included in the Champions League. I don't think you can call your team the world champions if you have not gone through DC United.
I was gonna say
If
the
you
New
have
York
not
Red Bulls,
Gone through
FC Austin.
Landon Donovan in
Shout out
Chicago
the Grease.
Fire. So I want to go back to something you said earlier about who's to blame and how did we get where we are. And I agree with you. Jay Monahan, 100%, this is on him. The LIV Golf Tour is not a novel idea. They stole the concept from another golf league that was being proposed called the PGL.
Oh, yeah.
And the PGL put together a proposal, pretty much exactly the same as what LIV Golf ended up becoming, sent it to the PGA Tour and said, we'd like to partner with you. We want to do these events in the off season, and we want to pay these guys a ton of money to do it. And Jay Monahan shut them out, did not take a meeting, did not even put it before the players. So,
and he also shut out all of the LIV guys, right?
yes.
Well, I think even
to have
without
meetings with
that,
them.
which is great, I think you could say Jay Monahan has just fumbled the ball over the last 3 months, 4 months maybe. Just misplayed his hand, I guess is another way to say it.
Somebody on our text thread said we need to fire Jay Moynihan and bring in a more wartime consigliere. And I was like, yeah, we do.
It was mishandled. It was an opportunity for them to grow. It was a money grab where it's like, hey, we want the whole pie, not 90% of it. And so I think that it was, again, you're the holier than thou. It's the blood money argument. It's the one argument that you almost can't argue against, right? You can stick your feet in the mud, and that's where you're going to stay.
I think you made the greatest point of the day, which is if this was, I don't know, make it up, Bill Gates and Jack Nicklaus instead of the Saudis.
We're not having the conversation.
And Greg Norman.
Yeah,
I think it's
it'd
a
be the great-
completely
It would be brought to you by the
conversation.
PGA Tour.
I think you're absolutely right. I do think you're absolutely right about that.
And so maybe that is the hill that everyone's dying on, and it is the holier than thou. But it also, Jay Monahan is a snake oil salesman. And I think that there's still a lot where, yes, pro golfers have made a ton of money. They've done very well for themselves.
No, but
They could have made more.
the top 10% have done really well. And then you've got golfers, and
Well-
this is what kind of pisses me off because you guys are good golfers and you love the sport and it teaches you a lot about life. There's some fabulous golfers out there that just can't fucking putt. And they're broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking broke.
Well, and you.
Tough shit. There's 7-footers who can't shoot. Like,
No, well,
I
they're
mean,
named Rory McIlroy. The guy, he 3-putted 40 holes or 2-putted 40 holes in a row. He played a great round of golf on Sunday and lost a tournament because he couldn't make 3 putts.
was there anybody on the planet who was truly rooting against Rory McIlroy in that situation? Because I haven't found anybody. And look, I wasn't like mad that Cam Smith came up and got him, and I ain't mad at Cam Smith the way I was even mad at Stuart Sink for coming up and getting Tom Watson because that was history.
You know why I'm
Cam
mad
played
at Cam?
the greatest 9 holes arguably in a major.
He shot at 30. You
Greatest
know why
final
I'm mad
line,
at
yeah.
Cam?
Yeah, right,
Because his
right.
mullet is ridiculous.
But the whole thing
Oh,
is
and that
Do you think
mustache?
he's getting laid with both of those things? Let's be
Fuck
honest.
yes,
Let's have
he
that
is.
conversation.
well, he's married. He's got a little wife. He's got a sick house. I just saw something on.
it's
on
all
TikTok.
good.
because that is a bad look.
And then he looks like a bowler in the 70s.
Later
Out
you
in the
wait.
streets, I see violence. We gonna rock down to.
I'm pretty sure that's Jamaican.
Oh, you fuckstick. And then make it work.
That is Eddy Grant.
You're such a retard.
Out in the street, there is violence. That's Electric Avenue, and that is Eddy Grant.
It's
That is-
men at work. We're gonna rock down.
No, that
to
is not Men at Work.
Electric
No,
Avenue. You're
Electric
literally
Avenue is
singing
not
it.
Men at Work.
Take it higher.
That's Electric Avenue.
Somebody
No.
let Richard
No.
know that he's really wrong.
Is he singing Electric Avenue right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
but
I'm-
you're saying it's not. But you just said Electric Avenue.
Right.
We're gonna rock on down.
To Electric.
To-
Men at
Alex-
work.
It is
No,
not Men at
that's
Work.
Electric
No.
Avenue.
That's Eddy
No,
Grant.
it's Eddy Grant.
It's the
I don't
opening.
think anybody should probably argue with me on this.
It's
like
the
one of
opening
my
music
5
to
favorite songs.
Pardon My Take.
Out
Number
in
one
the
podcast
streets.
in sports.
Okay, so that's reggae?
No.
It's not necessarily reggae, but he is Jamaican.
Fuck.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. I said the groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move.